You want to know why you're broke, why you're sitting there with dreams bigger than your wallet, why year after year you talk about changing your life but nothing ever changes? It's simple. You waste time. Time is the most valuable asset you'll ever have. It's more precious than money, more precious than your health, because time is the one thing you can never buy back. Billionaires know this. That's why they guard their time like a lion guards its prey. The poor, on the other hand, treat time like it's cheap, like it's just floating around waiting to be spent on Netflix, social media, video games, gossiping with friends at the bar. You think money is what separates you from the rich? No. What separates you is how you use your time. You think Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, or Andrew Carnegie wasted hours scrolling aimlessly? Not a chance. They knew from day one that if you respect time, time rewards you. If you waste it, time buries you alive. I've been saying this for decades. Procrastination is the enemy of wealth. Every minute you hesitate, someone else is taking action. While you're watching motivational videos or reading self-help books, there's a man out there signing deals, raising capital, buying companies, and pushing forward. That's the brutal truth most of you don't want to hear. You don't lack opportunities. You lack urgency. You live like you've got another 100 years in the bank, but reality doesn't care. You're one phone call away from a heart attack, one accident away from losing everything. The rich act as if the clock is running out because it is. The poor act like they've got forever. That's why the gap between rich and poor will never close, because the rich know how to compress time. They don't live day to day. They live quarter to quarter, deal to deal, goal to goal. Look at Steve Jobs. He was obsessed with time. He knew he didn't have forever, and that's why he created products that changed the world before he left it. He once said, remembering that you're going to die is the best tool he ever discovered to make the big choices in life. And he was right. Death is the ultimate motivator, but most of you live as if you're immortal. You hit the snooze button 10 times in the morning. You waste weekends chasing meaningless distractions. You surround yourself with friends who have no ambition, and then you wonder why nothing changes. The rich cut through that noise. They say no to 99% of the nonsense so they can focus on the 1% that matters. That's why they win. When I was young, I realized early on that the world doesn't reward the smartest or the kindest. It rewards the people who take action the fastest. You don't have to be a genius to get rich. You just have to stop wasting time. Hard decisions don't get easier if you wait. Fear doesn't vanish if you stall. In fact, the longer you wait, the more fear grows, the more doubt seeps in, the more your window of opportunity closes. High-performance people don't wait for perfect timing. They create it. They pull the trigger and adjust along the way. That's the secret the rich understand. Action beats perfection every single time. You want to know how the rich really do it? They live by calendars, not clocks. The average person says, I'll get to it tomorrow. The rich say, what's on the calendar today that gets me closer to my billion? They know exactly what their day looks like before it starts. They know what meetings, what calls, what actions are non-negotiable. You wake up and let the day happen to you. You react, you drift, and you call that living. That's why you're broke. The difference between winners and losers is focus, and focus is nothing but disciplined time management. Now, I want you to hear me clearly. Every second you waste is compounded over a lifetime. You waste 30 minutes today, an hour tomorrow, and over decades, you've wasted years. Years you could have been building empires, traveling the world, creating a legacy. Instead, you spent it scrolling through nonsense or waiting for someone else to give you permission. Let me tell you, nobody's going to give you permission. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself, and you save yourself by valuing time above everything else. That's why the rich cut people off without hesitation. If someone wastes their time, they're gone. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If your friends waste hours drinking, gossiping, or playing games, you will do the same. You cannot soar with eagles if you spend your life walking with chickens. The rich understand this, so they surround themselves with killers, doers, action takers. They don't have patience for snowflakes, for excuses, for whining. You want to be rich? Start by cutting the dead weight out of your life. Stop wasting time with people who aren't going where you're going. Let me ask you something. If you died tomorrow, would you be proud of how you spent your time today? Or would you realize you wasted most of your life on meaningless junk? That question should haunt you. Because once you wake up to the reality that your time is limited, you will either rise up and take action, or you will collapse under the weight of regret. and regret is the heaviest burden you'll ever carry. The rich don't live with regret. They make bold choices, they take risks, and they accept the consequences. They'd rather fail trying than waste their time sitting on the sidelines. Most of you think you're playing it safe by waiting, by not taking risks, by thinking it through. But what you're really doing is wasting time, and that is the riskiest thing of all. You're bleeding out your most valuable currency. Money can be made, lost, and remade. Time cannot. Every day you don't act, you're getting poorer, not richer. Every day you waste is another day someone else is seizing the opportunities you were too slow to take. You think billionaires got where they are by sitting around waiting for the perfect plan? Hell no. They moved fast. They made mistakes. They failed, but they failed forward. They learned quickly and moved on. Speed is everything. So I'm telling you right now, stop wasting time. The rich get rich because they respect it. They use it. They weaponize it. You want to stay broke? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep wasting hours on meaningless nonsense. But if you want to cross over to the other side, if you want to live like the rich really do, you've got to make every second count. Wake up earlier, work harder, cut off the people holding you back, stop procrastinating, and take action now. Because tomorrow is a lie, and time waits for no one. You think you've got time, but you don't. That's the biggest lie you keep telling yourself. I'll do it tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll get serious next year. Listen carefully. The cemetery is full of people who thought they had more time. They thought they'd get around to it. They thought life would wait for them. They thought they'd live forever. They didn't. And the same fate is waiting for you if you keep living like a coward who's afraid to act. The rich know this. That's why they squeeze every ounce out of every day. That's why they live urgently, like the clock is ticking, because it is. The poor live like they've been promised 100 extra years. The rich live like tomorrow is the last chance they'll ever have. And that urgency separates the lions from the sheep. You want to know the truth? The rich don't care about being liked. They don't care if people call them crazy, rude, selfish, or arrogant. They care about results. They care about building, conquering, achieving. You care about approval, about what your family thinks, about whether your loser friends think you're working too hard. That's why you're stuck. That's why you'll die with regret while the rich leave behind legacies. Henry Ford didn't waste his time convincing people he was smart. Andrew Carnegie didn't waste his time trying to be liked. Steve Jobs didn't waste time listening to critics who said Apple would never work. They cut the noise and used every ounce of time to push their vision into the world. That's the difference. And let's talk about excuses. Excuses are time thieves. You justify laziness by telling yourself you're tired, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're not ready, the timing isn't right, the economy is bad. Do you think Rockefeller waited for the economy to be perfect before he dominated oil? Do you think Elon Musk waited for the stars to align before he launched rockets into space? No, they acted. They didn't waste years hiding behind excuses. They took imperfect action and adjusted along the way. Meanwhile, you're still planning, still preparing, still pretending that waiting is a strategy. Waiting isn't a strategy. It's surrender. It's wasting time while someone else takes your future. The rich know the value of urgency and they pay for speed. They hire the best. They delegate tasks. They cut checks to get things done faster. The poor hoard pennies and waste months trying to do everything themselves. They think they're saving money, but really they're losing time. And time is worth more than all the money in the world. Do you understand that? You waste 3 months trying to do something you could have outsourced in a day, and you call yourself smart. The rich cut the check, save the time, and move forward. That's why they compound results while you compound regret. Another thing, the rich have clarity. They know what they want and they know what it costs. Most of you don't even know what you want. You waste years wandering, changing directions, chasing distractions, and then you wonder why you never get anywhere. A ship without a destination will drift forever. The rich pick a target and burn every second moving toward it. They don't stop for distractions. They don't let emotions derail them. They don't waste time on indecision. They decide, they act, and they move. You're paralyzed. You think deciding slowly makes you smart. It doesn't. It makes you weak. The world rewards speed, decisiveness, and execution, not hesitation. Think about the habits you live with every day. How much time do you waste on meaningless routines? Waking up late, scrolling your phone, binge watching shows, hanging out with people who have no future. Every one of those choices is a knife stabbing your dreams. The rich build habits that weaponize time. They wake up early. They exercise discipline. They manage their calendar. They review their goals, and they attack the day. They don't waste mornings in bed. They don't waste nights in bars. They don't waste weekends pretending they're relaxing when they haven't earned the right to relax. They compress decades into years by making every day count. That's why they win. And here's the brutal truth. You've been programmed wrong. Society taught you to waste time. Schools told you to wait, to be patient, to line up, to follow instructions. Your parents told you not to take risks, not to be different, not to chase too big a dream. Friends told you to chill, to take it easy, to enjoy life now and worry later. And now here you are, average, broke, and lost because you listened. You were trained to waste time. The rich reject that programming. They rewire themselves for urgency, for speed, for decisive action. They're not waiting for permission. They're taking what's theirs. Do you know what waiting really is? Fear. Fear disguised as patience. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right moment, but really you're scared. Scared of failing, scared of judgment, scared of losing. The rich feel the same fear, but they act anyway. That's the difference. They're not fearless. They're action-driven. You're not stuck because of lack of resources. You're stuck because of lack of courage. And courage is nothing but action in the face of fear. So every time you wait, every time you hesitate, you're letting fear rob you. And the longer you wait, the more fear grows. That's why the rich move fast, because they know fear compounds. If you don't kill fear immediately, it multiplies and strangles your future. Stop telling yourself you have time. Stop lying to yourself. You're running out of it. Every second that passes is gone forever, and you don't get it back. The rich know this, and that's why they treat time as sacred. They don't waste it. They don't tolerate people who waste it, and they don't forgive themselves for wasting it. You want to live like the rich? Start by killing every excuse, cutting every distraction, and weaponizing every second of your life. Because time is the great equalizer. We all get 24 hours, but how you use it determines who you become. The reason most people never break out of mediocrity is because they confuse being busy with being productive. You're running around all day, answering emails, checking your phone, talking about what you'll do, but at the end of the week, you've got nothing to show for it. That's not productivity. That's motion without progress. High-performance people, the truly rich, don't waste time on meaningless activity. They know the difference between being busy and being effective. One phone call that secures a deal, one meeting that moves the needle, one decision that changes the trajectory of your company, that's what matters. The rest is noise. And you live in the noise, you drown in it, you convince yourself you're working hard because you're sweating and tired, but the truth is you're just wasting time. I've seen it my whole life. People think they're hustling because they stay up late working on small tasks. But those tasks don't build wealth. They don't create leverage. The rich focus on leverage. They spend their time on actions that multiply results. They don't waste a week designing their own website. They hire someone to do it in a day. They don't waste months tinkering with details. They go straight for the jugular, the big moves that bring big returns. That's how they compound success. You, on the other hand, are addicted to the illusion of work. You mistake activity for accomplishment. That's why you're exhausted but broke. And here's something you've got to face. Time is not neutral. It either compounds for you or against you. Every day you use it wisely, you're stacking momentum, building power, compounding results. Every day you waste it, you're digging a deeper hole of mediocrity and regret. Think about it. If you wasted just 2 hours a day, that's 30 days a year gone. 30 days. That's a whole month you could have used to launch a business, learn a high-income skill, close deals, or build something that lasts. Instead, you burned it on distractions that gave you nothing. Multiply that by 10 years, and you've thrown away an entire year of your life, a year you'll never get back. The rich don't let that happen. They squeeze every drop out of every day. That's why 10 years later, they're millionaires and you're still talking about someday. Look at Elon Musk. He runs multiple billion-dollar companies at once. How? He doesn't waste time. He doesn't sit in pointless meetings. He doesn't tolerate excuses. He doesn't play around with nonsense. His calendar is a weapon. He knows exactly what matters, and he eliminates the rest. That's why he can build rockets, cars, and global infrastructure while you're still trying to figure out what to do with your weekends. The man treats time like oxygen, vital, urgent, non-negotiable. That's how the rich really do it. Now let's talk about friends again, because this is where most of you bleed out your time without even realizing it. You waste hours, days, years with people who add no value to your life. You sit around with losers who have no ambition, no drive, no vision, and you let them pull you down into the pit of mediocrity. But they're my friends. No, they're your anchors. They're the reason you're not moving. The rich don't waste time with anchors. They surround themselves with people who challenge them, push them, scare them into leveling up. They don't have time for small talk, for gossip, for negativity. Every conversation either feeds the vision or it dies on the spot. That's how they protect their time. You hang out with time wasters and wonder why you're not moving forward. Show me your calendar and I'll tell you your future. Show me who you give your time to and I'll tell you exactly why you're broke. And then there's guilt. Many of you waste years trapped by guilt. You feel guilty for wanting more, guilty for chasing success, guilty for working when others are relaxing, so you waste time trying to make everyone else comfortable. Let me tell you something. The rich don't apologize for using their time to build empires. They don't waste energy explaining themselves to people who will never understand. They don't slow down so others can catch up. They move at full speed and let the chips fall where they may. If you want to live like the rich, you've got to kill the guilt. You don't owe your time to anyone who isn't building with you, period. Stop wasting time pretending you can balance everything perfectly. Work-life balance is a myth sold to the weak. There are only work-life choices and every choice has consequences. The rich know this. They choose empire over comfort, growth over ease, discipline over distraction. They miss parties, birthdays, weekends, because they're focused on something bigger. And yes, there are consequences, but the consequences of wasting time are far worse. Would you rather be hated for missing a few events or die broke because you wasted your life on things that didn't matter? That's the decision the rich make, and that's why they win. You think you're entitled to free time, to endless breaks, to relaxation you haven't earned. The rich know free time is earned through results, not handed out like candy. They work first, rest later. They build first, enjoy later. You want to flip the order. You want to enjoy now, and maybe, if you're lucky, build later. That's why you'll never make it. You waste time chasing pleasure before you've earned it. And by the time you realize your mistake, it's too late. The rich delay gratification because they know building now means freedom later. They're not living for weekends, they're living for legacies. And let's not forget this. Words control most of you. Someone insults you, criticizes you, or disagrees with you, and you waste hours, days, even weeks replaying it in your head. You let words steal your time. The rich don't. They don't care what you think, what you say, or how you feel about their grind. They're too busy moving forward. True power is restraint. True power is ignoring the noise and keeping your focus locked. Every second you waste being offended is a second you'll never get back. The rich know this. That's why they don't flinch. They don't retreat into safe spaces. They don't need comfort zones. They thrive under pressure while you melt like a snowflake. You need to decide right now. Are you going to keep wasting your life on excuses, distractions, and worthless activity? Or are you going to treat time like the priceless asset it is? Because every day you delay, you're making that choice whether you admit it or not. And let me be brutally clear, life doesn't care about your excuses. Time doesn't pause for you. The rich don't wait, and neither should you. You know what separates the rich from the rest? It isn't luck. It isn't some secret genetic code. It's how they treat time as non-negotiable. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They don't look at the clock as a measure of hours. They look at it as a measure of execution. Every tick of the second hand is either bringing them closer to domination or dragging them closer to mediocrity. That's why they move fast. That's why they decide fast. That's why they act fast. Meanwhile, the rest of you spend your days in hesitation, analysis paralysis, talking yourself out of the very thing that could change your life. You're paralyzed by what ifs. What if I fail? What if I lose money? What if people laugh at me? Let me tell you what if. You'll die broke miserable, and forgotten if you keep wasting time worrying about nonsense. The rich know failure is part of the process. They don't waste time avoiding it. They waste no time recovering from it. Do you think Jeff Bezos sat around worrying if Amazon would look silly at the start? He sold books online from his garage. People laughed. Did he waste time explaining himself to every critic? No. He executed. He failed forward. He iterated. He scaled. And now he's one of the richest men alive. The difference? Speed, execution, relentless focus on time. You, on the other hand, are still planning that business you've been dreaming about for 10 years. You've wasted a decade while others built empires. That's the real cost of procrastination. Time management is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. The rich are ruthless about priorities. They cut out 90% of the tasks that don't move the needle. They don't waste mornings in endless meetings. They don't waste evenings on television. They don't waste weekends on comfort. They ask, will this get me closer to my ultimate goal? If the answer is no, it's gone. That's how you weaponize time. You've got to learn to say no, to cut out the noise, to starve distractions. Because every yes to nonsense is a no to your future. And let's not kid ourselves. Most of you waste time because you're addicted to comfort. You think comfort is the goal of life. It's not. Comfort is the trap. Comfort kills ambition, it kills hunger, it kills urgency. The rich use discomfort as fuel. They thrive under pressure. They put themselves in situations where failure is possible, where the stakes are high, where the clock is ticking. Why? Because that's where growth happens. That's where time is maximized. While you're curled up in your comfort zone, they're out in the arena, bleeding, sweating, winning. And when the dust settles, they own the future while you sit there wondering what happened. You talk about wanting success, but your actions prove otherwise. Success demands sacrifice. It demands that you give up the luxury of wasting time. You cannot binge your way to billions. You cannot scroll your way to significance. You cannot waste years in hesitation and expect to wake up rich. The rich know this. That's why they sacrifice now to win later. They know time compounds. And every hour invested today multiplies into years of freedom tomorrow. You sacrifice later to indulge now. And when tomorrow comes, you've got nothing but regret. There's a brutal clarity the rich live with. Not everyone deserves their time. They don't meet with everyone. They don't listen to everyone. They don't give attention to everyone. Time is reserved for those who bring value. That's why they hire gatekeepers, assistants, layers of filters to protect their most valuable asset. You give your time away like it's worthless. You pick up every call, answer every message, entertain every distraction, and then you wonder why you're exhausted and broke. Protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. And let's talk about discipline. Discipline is nothing more than how you choose to spend your time when no one is watching. The rich don't need external motivation. They don't wait for inspiration. They don't waste time waiting for the mood to strike. They act because action is the habit. Action is the default. They've built discipline into their bones. That's why they get results when others don't. Most of you wait until you feel ready. Newsflash, you'll never feel ready. You're wasting time waiting for a feeling. Winners move regardless of feelings. That's why they dominate. Stop wasting time thinking you've got unlimited chances. Opportunities are perishable. They expire. Doors close. And once they're gone, they rarely open again. The rich know this, so they seize opportunities while they're alive. They don't wait for guarantees. They move when the window is open. You wait until it feels safe. And by the time you're ready, the opportunity is dead. The market doesn't care that you were scared. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards speed, courage, and execution. So ask yourself right now, how many years have you wasted already? How many dreams have you buried in the graveyard of procrastination? How many times have you said someday and watched that day never arrive? The rich don't live in someday, they live in now. They understand that now is all we ever have, and they act accordingly. That's why their calendars are packed with execution, not excuses. That's why their time builds empires while yours builds nothing. The ultimate tragedy isn't that most people fail. It's that they waste their lives never even trying. They spend decades waiting, preparing, planning, hoping, while the rich take imperfect action and seize control. You think you're being smart by waiting for the right time, the right conditions, the right mood, but the truth is you're wasting the only resource you can't replace. Money lost can be made again, reputation damaged can be repaired, but time wasted is gone forever. The rich understand this better than anyone else. That's why they treat every day as sacred. That's why they work when others sleep. That's why they execute when others hesitate. That's why they win when others lose. You want to live like the rich? You've got to embrace urgency like your life depends on it, because it does. Every second is either building your future or burying it. And if you think you can waste years and somehow stumble into wealth, you're lying to yourself. You've got to wake up to the brutal truth. The world owes you nothing. No one cares about your excuses, your fears, your hesitation. The scoreboard only records results, and results are a direct reflection of how you spent your time. Think about it. If you died tomorrow, would you be proud of how you used your time? Would you be able to say you squeezed every ounce of potential out of every hour? Or would you admit you wasted most of it on meaningless distractions, comforting lies, and endless procrastination? That question should shake you to your core, because if the answer isn't pride, then you're wasting the very life you've been given. And once it's gone, it's gone. The rich don't waste time proving themselves to people who don't matter. They don't waste time debating with critics or defending their choices. They don't waste time drowning in regret. They move forward, always forward. They know the past is dead, the future is uncertain, but now is everything. That's how they live. That's how they build. That's how they conquer. You want that kind of power? Then stop wasting time trying to please the world. Stop wasting time waiting for permission. Stop wasting time doubting yourself. Take action now and let the results speak louder than your excuses ever could. And let me leave you with this. Success isn't about intelligence, talent, or even opportunity. It's about urgency. It's about how you use your time when it matters most. The rich know that. They know every second counts, and they refuse to waste it. That's why they dominate industries, shape the world, and leave legacies that outlive them. You've been wasting your life waiting for a sign. Well, here it is. This is your sign. Stop wasting time. Act now. Execute relentlessly. Build urgently. Because if you don't, you'll blink and realize your life slipped through your fingers while others use the same 24 hours to build empires. Time is undefeated. It will crush you if you let it. But if you learn to weaponize it, to respect it, to use it the way the rich really do, then you can rise above mediocrity and claim the life you were meant to live. The choice is yours, and the clock is ticking. Stop wasting time. This is how the rich really do it.